welcome to MJ Hobby Corner. I'm MJ, and for today I just want to give a little update for the channel and for my patrons on the studio, some of the things that have changed, and also to introduce the primary studio, the heart and soul of MJ Hobby Corner, to any of our new subscribers who maybe haven't seen the older videos where I introduced the studio. Every year I do some spring cleaning in here. We've been around for like 4 years now. So about 2 years ago rather, I started closing down the studio in the wintertime. And that serves to really conserve on electricity. Heating the studio in the winter is very, very expensive, and we don't have that kind of budget. So it closes down in the studio, and we use our little satellite studio in the house, which then serves as my primary base for the winter. So let me show you for 2024 what's going to go on in the studio. So I have 3 tables that I can put together and form large tabletops for my games. And this summer I do want to play some larger games. So I set up a nicely sized table here and getting some new terrain on it. This will be for small scale gaming. I'm going to do a lot of 15 millimeter, 10 millimeter, and even 6 millimeter mesh armies on tables like this. And so you'll probably see these kinds of games being played throughout the summer. Now, Julie is very limited this year. Her mobility is very limited, so we're going to have to do something else for her to be able to, play the games like we normally do. So I have my terrain wall on this side. There's a lot of glare, so I'm not going to face the camera there. I still have some cleaning to do. And basically here's one of the workbenches. And this is where I do some of my model painting, but a lot of crafting goes on in this workbench now. And you see all of the mosaic of pictures back there, and these are all the boxes. I have a ton of boxes of models and that I've collected over the years. And instead of throwing them away, what I do is I cut out the art of the boxes, because some of the art's really beautiful, and I just stick it back there. And it helps cover up some bad spots, and it just gives more of a gaming environment, right? So that's what I do with all of my boxes. And so these mosaics kind of, you can see them all around the studio. Here are some of my scratch builds. These are all scratch build tanks and such. This year, what I did, I took out some of my old white dwarfs back in the day where I played 40K 3rd edition. And so these are pretty much relics now in my library. So they're out this year. We have a small library here. And this is a very small portion of my gaming library. And I keep it here in the studio so I can study my rules whenever I'm doing a game. And so it's a nice little area here. Now, if we come around, we have the model collection, and this is the model corner. And this is quite the collection of 28 millimeter figures. This is all my 28 millimeter collection. And we have quite a bit of figures here in this collection. We have some Gates of Antares. We have some Drop Zone Commander down there. And just a lot of figures. Even some of my own sculptures, that dinosaur, makes it here in the model vault. This is what I call my model vault because it's a small corner. So it's basically a big U. Oop, a little bit too dark there. Basically a big U of just all kinds of 28 millimeters figures, many different manufacturers. So yeah, it's quite the collection. Here we are, completely surrounded by the figures here in the model vault. A little corner set aside just for 28 millimeter wargaming miniatures. Mostly fantasy, but there's some sci-fi. And I started collecting figures very early on. I was about 16. I'm 54 years old now, so I started around 16. Uh, some of those models have survived all these years and all the constant moving that I've done over the years. This is an old D&D model. This is all my 28 millimeter stuff, some 10 millimeter if you saw the drop zones vehicles. But my 172 scale and 15 millimeter collection is in the small studio. So all of the 15 millimeter stuff, and there are some different scales here as well, but mostly 15 millimeter, a lot of stuff from Battle Valor. All this stuff, including my 172 scale material, all of it is here in the smaller studio. And I put up new shelves this year to accommodate these scales. This is all Battle Valor stuff. And these are a lot of the miniature armies that I will be using this summer, because I haven't really used a lot of these armies. So these things are getting painted now in the smaller studio. And once I get these things painted, I have quite a few projects already. I did get a lot of stuff done this past week, so we're gonna have some games. I think our mission here, our goal, if I were to verbalize it, is enjoy the hobby and to share it with our viewers. This is an awesome hobby. And when I say hobby, I include miniature wargaming, whether it's fantasy, historical, whatever it is. We play mostly fantasy and sci-fi. You know, scratch building, that's definitely a big part of my hobby. Very low budget, you know, simple scratch building to get my games going. Pretty much 90% of what I play with is completely scratch built. So basically it's I would say our mission is to share with our viewers who have similar interests this awesome hobby, and that includes role playing. And you know, just have a fun time. This is a great hobby. Hopefully this year I may do some sculpting. I've had some issues with my hands, so I haven't been sculpting, but maybe that'll change this summer and I can get back to making little clay figures for my games, for my role-playing games, and of course I will be happy to share all of that with you guys. You know, this is it. This is the gaming space. I'm very lucky to have this space. And what's coming in 2024? Well, there's going to be a lot of role-playing. We do have Starfinder. My crew, my players are getting ready for that for the summer. And basically, I made space this year. I did a lot of cleaning in here within the past couple of days to get the space so that 6 people can sit down. There's plenty of space here in the studio for that. It's not a very large gaming group, but large enough. And so the rustic environment, the cabin-like environment of the studio is very good for role-playing, I think. So yeah, my players will be able to come, sit down, and we play some RPGs. Now, for miniature wargaming, I have a lot of plans. There are quite a few. We're going to revisit a few of the games that we play consistently. Games like Horizon Wars, I've been playing a little more. I'm going to show some new games that I've come up with using Horizon Wars rules. And, you know, that a lot of that is on Patreon right now. So there are some bonus Horizon Wars material on Patreon. Speaking of Patreon, I want to give a very special thanks to all our Patreon members, to all our YouTube members. Thank you for your support. To everyone that has supported us on Wargames Vault with Scratch Builder Monthly, it has been very, very important to keep the studio budget going. So I really want to thank everybody for all that support. I want to thank all of our YouTube subscribers, all of you guys that are coming along and viewing the videos and all that. Thank you very much, and thank you for all your kind comments. So yeah, basically this is it. And I think this summer, games like a new game that I will be demoing very soon. In fact, I may demo that game this week, called Fantastic Battles by Irregular Wars. You can expect demo very soon. That's one of the game systems I really want to play this summer. There is also Mayhem, which is a very interesting RPG style mass battle system. We'll talk more about Mayhem as well, and have some examples here with the big table, and hopefully use some of my 15mm stuff for those kinds of battles. All right, but you would also see some mesh armies. There will be some mesh army work. I am toning down scratch building a little bit. I will always have scratch building projects, no worries. And but basically I'm incorporating some narrative material and scenario material into Scratch Builder monthly, and then that includes any projects that I have for terrain and everything, very low budget stuff, and that's going to be incorporated into the new Scratch Builder monthly. So in 2024, we also want to, I'm redoing MJ Hobby Talk. And right now, our patrons and YouTube members will get a chance to vote. We're probably going to do that every month for our patrons. They will get a chance to vote on what games we're going to discuss for MJ Hobby Talk. So a big portion of Hobby Talk is going to be rule review, overviews, and reviews, our feelings about certain rules, our experience with the game within these past 4 years, recommendations. If there's any scratch building that goes on for those kinds of games, we will discuss that a little bit. But really give faction talks and that kind of stuff. I think that's an important thing that we're kind of lacking in the channel, and so that's what's going to happen on MJ Hobby Talk. But patrons will get to choose, basically our Lords of Fantasy will get to choose some of these games, and then we choose one ourselves that we think has had a lot of interest, and therefore we have a new battle report format that I am constantly tweaking, but we have a much more condensed, shorter battle report formats that still give a lot of information, but it helps a lot with editing. I'm the only person that films and edits, and it's a lot of work. So this new format is allowing us to play more games, essentially. We're going to move on and present some new games. Okay, so thank you very much, folks, and thanks again to all our patrons, YouTube members, YouTube subs here. If you want to help support the channel, you can definitely hop on Patreon or check out Wargames Vault, or just simply stay here and here on YouTube and just do all the YouTubey things. And yeah, hopefully this will be a nice, fun 2024 of miniature wargaming. Thank you, folks, and I'll see you in the next video.